All right. By law, we have to hold this meeting to discuss our proposed budget and tax rate um, for the school year, and then the board will take that into consideration, and y'all will make a vote later on tonight. Uh, we did have a budget workshop with the school board a couple of weeks ago, and some of these things were discussed that we took into consideration when putting the budget together. Uh, First off, we have increased the starting teacher rate to 47,500 within this budget. All other teachers would get their step plus $1,000 on the teacher scale. Uh, all other salary increases are on a midpoint scale, and so we would do a 3% raise on the midpoint of each of those pay grades. We've also added some additional stipends. We have boosted our instruction with adding some instructional coaching on some of the campuses. We've talked about this in the past, but increase in property and flood insurance is continuing to rise, and that's going to continue to be a strain on the budget. And we did add some new teaching and para positions, mainly due to growth in the district. Sometimes you have growth in certain grade levels where we have to, target those grade levels and make sure we have enough teachers there. And then we just have general prices increasing across the board. I think most of us have kind of just felt that, but the school district really feels that in our total budget, and so we had to take that into consideration as well. Our tax rates, proposed tax rates for the next school year, or next tax year, sorry, M&O, that's our maintenance and operations rate, 0.6969 is what we're proposing tonight. So the state assigns us a maximum compressed rate, and that is 0.6169, and that's based on our property value growth from last year to this year. And so down there towards the bottom, you can see that the property value within Bridge City ISD has grown about 15%. So that impacts that MCR. So that 0.6969 backing into the top, that includes adding 5 cents onto that MCR, plus another 3 disaster pennies that we talked about. Those disaster pennies are a 1-year use if you choose to take action on those today, and would help us reach a balanced budget. There's some provisions that we discussed before that we have to meet in order to access those disaster pennies. That documentation is in your board packets for you to review, and you're going to see that as we look at this, that it's really going to help us meet that balanced budget that we were looking for. INS rate. We were at 0.315 last year on our INS rate, interest and sinking, and that goes to paying our debt. So most of all of our bond debt is paid off through INS. We're actually going to be able to decrease that rate this year, as well as building in some defeasance. So we're going to be able to pay off some bonds, hopefully a little sooner, by collecting just a little bit more in INS this year, putting that aside in an escrow account, and be able to pay bonds later on. And that is going to bring our total tax rate to under $1, which is more than a penny less than it was last year. We were over $1 last year, so we're getting under $1. I think that's a big step for Bridge City ISD. Budgeting assumptions, again, there's our total property value. And again, that's 15% increase. Projected enrollment. When we were building this budget, we took a look at some of the studies that we had done by, is it Templeton? Is that the name? Yeah, Templeton, and then some of our just historical data of enrollment. That's what we have to do, try to project where our enrollment is going to be, because we know that ADA attendance is a big driving factor in how much we're going to bring in. So our projected enrollment, building the budget, was 3,223 students, and we projected 93.25% ADA, which, I mean, for those of us who've been in the education game, that seems low. But since COVID, that's just the way that attendance is trending, unfortunately. Hopefully, it does seem like it's kind of maybe back, at least he's holding steady or going back up a little bit, but I think time's going to tell on that. Now, I think Dr. Kelly's got some, probably in his report later, some first week numbers of enrollment.
I'm just going to say today's number, we have 3,185 students. So we were only 38 students off. So, I mean, a better ADA, obviously, then we hit our mark anyway. But we also find that after Labor Day, we'll have another boost. So it's kind of following the trend of what happened last year. Yeah, we're only 38 students off right now.
I think we had 40 students more from last week to this week. So I think we'll see some more even next week.
It's a pretty tough game to, we look at attendance about 9 different ways. And we get pretty close. So we never going to get that on.
Revenues. Just a reminder of where we get most of our revenues: tax revenue, state revenue. The district does bring in some local revenue, not a lot, but we do bring in some local revenue. There are also some federal revenue, small portion, you'll see that in a second, that we bring in as part of our revenues for the whole district. And just a reminder also that we're looking at our general fund today, 199, which is what most of the talk that we've had is about our general fund. We're also looking at 240, which is our national breakfast and lunch program. And then we're looking at 599, which is our debt service. So when we look at total budget, we're looking at all those numbers, all three of those funds rolled into one. So revenue, I've got it broken down two different ways. That first box up there is local, state, and federal revenue. So you can see where that money is coming from. You can see that the state is picking up most of the tab. Local is bringing in 16. We're projecting 16 million. And then federal revenue, again, that's not a lot. Most of that is our food and breakfast program. The breakfast and lunch program. And it includes some other things like indirect costs that we get from some federal grants, some Medicaid reimbursements and things like that. So total revenue, $38.9 million. And then revenue in each of those funds broken out that way. When in our workshop, we looked mostly at the general fund. If you'll remember, that's where that 32, but when you add in the 240 and the 599 funds, you come out again to that same number. It's just broken down two different ways up there for you. You can see where the projections are coming from. Expenditures. Again, another reminder, we look at the function level only, so that the board adopts where they think the money should be divided and spent in the district at a function level on our account structure. And this is the slide where it may be better off maybe looking at your binders. It's a little smaller up there, but these are the functions that we have. I have them broken down functions by fund. One thing you'll notice is that there's only one function in 240 and there's only one function in 599. Those are pretty specific funds that we spend out of, but the bulk of the spending comes out of our general fund. And you can see the breakdown up there of where we project our expenditures to fall. And if you will notice that grand total down there at the bottom of 38.9 million equals the revenue projections of $38.9 million which leaves us with a balanced budget.
Any questions, anything that, from our budget workshop that tonight that we're not remembering?
Are they making us whole on the food? The government,
Yes.
basically,
Yes.
one-on-one on the kids?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we actually met certain criteria this year to allow our younger kids to, yes, they're making us whole on all those.
Is the, that number we're using, say, maybe someday, is that percentage, is that a lot lower than we wanted? Is that a lot lower?
It's a little bit lower than what we normally budget, but we've missed our mark the last couple of years.
There's a chance if we get back.
Absolutely.
That number could be low.
Absolutely. That would be great.
It seemed like it was around 96, 95.
96 was a good year. Just 5-10 years ago, that was, 96, when you had a good year, that was expected.
I know I think it was real hard to get some kids in school.
Pre-COVID, it was 95% of what most school districts
Mhm.
funded off of, knowing that they were going to come in better. Since COVID, I think we went down to 94 and didn't hit it, and so now we're at
Yeah, we were shy of 94 this past year.
Last year, what is like we increased it like 28 total? So
Yes, sir.
35 last year.
Just shy.
Excellent job.
Thank you.
Very hard work.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Heavenly Father, we give you thanks and praise for a great start to this new year. Safe environment for all of us that may have. We ask that you continue to help us to be watchful and also that you are motivated and make sure that thank you for everyone in this system that they work hard to make sure that we have the skills to go and ready for the great start. Pray in Jesus' name.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. I didn't know if you wanted to show.